Good morning. Today we are going to discuss about risk management. Right. So the banking is all about managing risk. That is what I understood. Normally, whenever we go and ask people what is meant by banking, or a student of bank entrance examination or the banker, they always say banking means collecting funds from the public for the purpose of lending and investments. Correct? But actually speaking, banking means managing risk, right? So if you are able to manage the risk which you have taken properly and appropriately, the banking business will be profitable. If you are not able to manage in a right time and a right way, the banking will become loss-making business for the people who are managing it. So let us see what is meant by risk, right? What are all the major risks the banking business is facing and how they are managing these risks, right? Risk is nothing but how much we are deviating from the average or uncertainties in the cash flow. When I say it's a deviation from the mean, it's nothing but you have an average and you may be better than average or you may be less than average. For a classic example, in a class where the average mark of a student is 60 mark, a student who are scoring 10 mark is also risky, a student who are scoring 90 mark also is risky. Why the student is scoring 90 mark is risky? He may go out of the school, then your average will come down. A student who are scoring 10 marks will pull down the average, that student also is risky. So that is the reason, if you are in line with the average or a mean, it will be less risky. Coming back to the stock market returns, in a particular stock which has generated exorbitant return, which has grown 70% or 50% in a single month, that stock also is risky because the stock has run up because of various short-term factors. A stock which is generated minus 20% or minus 30%, those stock also is risky. So the risk is nothing but how much we are deviating from the average, right? When I talk about risk, the risk also defined uncertainty in cash flow. I always wondered why the people are not taking up business and always go to employment. The reason is they don't want any uncertainty in the cash flow. That means the salary has been paid on the right time, there is no uncertainty in the cash flow. The business, there is always uncertainty in the cash flow. The cash inflow and the cash outflow. There will be a huge volatility which leads to a risk, right? Coming back to the banking business, the banking business also has got a lot of uncertainty or event which leads to uncertainty that creates financial losses to the bank. Okay, the risk is nothing but uncertainty which leads to losses. Normally, the banks facing these three major risks. One is credit risk, second one is market risk, third one is operational risk. These are all the three major risks the bank faces. What is credit risk? Credit risk is nothing but risk of default. That means you give a loan, the party does not repay on time. I am not talking about a default alone. If he is not repaying on time, there is a delay in repayment, that is also a risk. That we call it as credit risk. Right? Any investment in bond you made, the credit rating degraded from AAA to AA, those investment also has got a credit risk. The credit risk is nothing but risk of default, delay in payment, delinquencies, and downgraded of rating. These are all called credit risk. How do we manage credit risk? One way to manage credit risk is diversification. You can diversify your credit portfolio, you will be able to manage your risk. The second way to manage credit risk is to have credit derivatives in your portfolio. Okay. The second risk which banks facing is market risk. What is market risk? It's nothing but the risk arises due to adverse movement of market prices. The market prices moves up and down, which leads to erosion of values. This is called market risk. Market risk can be managed by way of diversification and derivatives like futures, options, swaps, etc. The third risk is operational risk. Nothing but risk arises due to people, process, system and other macro environmental factor. Right? Delay in signing the contract, operational risk. Not following the process, operational risk. Not following the compliance, operational risk. Poor documentation, operational risk. Operational risk arises due to people, process, system and other factors. How do we manage operational risk? Adhere the compliances, adhere the standard operating procedures, adhere the policies. That will help. Right? So, risk is part of life in banking, part of life in investment. You cannot eliminate the risk, only you can manage risk. The better way of managing risk, and you can efficiently manage your asset either by way of credit or by way of investment. It is easy to reduce losses and generate better return. Thank you so much, and probably on the next session we will detail it out more on credit derivatives and derivatives used in market. Thank you so much.